I promised I didn't want to do this video today. I I just didn't. I had other stuff lined up. Sorry. I got to talk about it. I didn't know they were going to put out this statement yesterday. Npfl banned forward-facing sonar. Okay. I wasn't surprised. I kind of already knew that was going to happen, and it is what it is. This is, I love fishing sometimes. I love fishing all the time. I could sit here and talk about this for 2 hours. And what I'm talking about is not the actual ban of it. It wouldn't even faze me one bit. There's just so much, man. I just love listening to fishermen talk. Actually, I hate it, but I love it. This is kind of what I've been waiting for. I really have. We've been talking about this for however many years now, and it's getting old. It really is, from everyone, myself included. It doesn't bother me about what's going on with the decisions. I just keep laughing about the people that have like their opinions and what's going on within the industry. That's the part I love talking about, because it's funny to me. The fishermen and / the people in comments, both of them together are phenomenal to me. I think it's great. There's a couple things I want to talk about. One is this, and this is, you got to realize some of y'all have heard this before, then other guys have never heard any of this. Actually, I don't even know where I want to begin. My mind, you want to talk about going off the rails, my mind is going all over the place with where to go with this. I'm listening to some people, I'm listening to the comments. For me, this is my opinion on my stance on all this. Could care less if they got rid of it or don't get rid of it. Doesn't matter to me. I catch them with or without it. I've caught them way before today, and I've done very well with it and against people with it. Do not care. I like the fact, because like for me, just like, let's just take next year. Next year, as of right now, it will not be banned with anything I fish. Okay? And it's not going to change anything I fish. If we're allowed to fish it all year long, I'm going to fish the exact same trails. If they take it away in some trails, I'm still going to fish those trails. Won't matter to me. That's not my concern. Oh, they worried about forward facing stuff. Man, I'm worried about a paycheck. I'm worried about getting paid. I care a million times more about the fact of how much they're going to pay out in that tournament, whether they're going to allow me to use some piece of equipment that I can catch fish with or without. And that's going to be my main point to all this, that I can catch fish with it or without it. And I'm going to state this, and listen, I'm going to say this too. Professional fishermen are, I use that word very lightly, and we're going to get into that too. Fishermen in general are so scared to speak up. And I get it, right? Clark Winlet spoke up. I'll give him mad props. Listen, I don't care whether you like his take or not. It doesn't matter to me whether you agree with him or not. At least he spoke up and didn't just ride out in the middle of it all. And what I mean by that is, this is great. Everyone's putting this on there and go, I just want to hear your thoughts. I get it. It's because they can't really say what they want to say. People want me to take a stance on this of like whether they should get rid of it or not. My stance is I don't care. My stance, because I can catch fish with or without it. I'm looking at it right here on the front of my boat. I used it for 8 hours yesterday. That's all I went and did yesterday is used it. And Thursday or tomorrow, I'm going to go probably fish all day long without it, because I'm going to go do something else that I can't wait to go do. I did it the other day, smashed on them. Don't care whether I use it or not. Is it phenomenal? Yes, it's never coming off my boat. I love using it at times. It's freaking awesome. I had a blast yesterday with it. They're not going to get rid of it in every tournament, not anytime soon. It's going to be around in most of the tournaments you're allowed to fish. The guys that are complaining about it on the comments, those guys don't have anything to worry about. They're not getting rid of it. I don't know what they're so upset about. And talking about like, oh, I spent all this money for it. Go use it. I guess there's 14 million professional fishermen out there that only got that for tournaments and didn't just get it to go fish. No one forced you to go get this thing. Like I love it. I'm looking at my NBT. My buddy got on my boat. He's like, "You got the NBT?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's freaking awesome." Big old screen. And yet there's still people, if I do videos, are like, "You don't know how to, what are you going to do without it?" What do you mean? Spent 30 years, however many years. I don't even know how many years without it. I'll be fine with or without it. But for right now, it really doesn't affect anything. I'm so much more worried about what they're going to pay out than whether or not they're going to let me use that thing or not. Okay? 2, I don't know, I know why. Since we're already on the professional fisherman side of it, the professional fishermen are, I'm not saying they're entitled, but we have created so many ways to become a professional fisherman that, man, just because you fish in a league doesn't make you a professional fisherman. I'm gonna say that right now. You paid a lot of money, right? Some of y'all qualified. It's still, listen, I'm not saying you're not supposed to be there, but some of y'all qualified, some of y'all didn't, some of y'all, most of the guys still in this league, in today's league, if you go through them, did not qualify to be where they're at. They were asked to be there. They had an invite. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. You can get mad all you want to. No one will call me out on that. You want to know why? Because it's not a lie. You were invited to be where you're at. Very few people qualified to be there. Some of y'all, the young anglers, most of the young anglers, all the new anglers over the last 3 or 4 years, they all qualified to be there. One league, that like the whole league was invited. The other league, a lot of them left one league and went to another. Invite. They were invited to go there. Not saying they weren't qualified, big difference. They just didn't have to qualify to get there. They were invited there. That's not a dig on those people. There's another league that it was all 100% invite, still invite. No one qualified to get there. And yet there's a sense of entitlement to fishermen, to the professional fishermen, that I think is a little bit overblown. And they might come at me. I don't care. It's because it's true. And so I just say that to say, like, man, I guess the part I'm really excited about with all this is listening to the people like squirm. And like they're gonna leave trails now. They're going to leave trails. If they ban it all together, I'm going to quit fishing this stuff. If that's why you're quitting, if that's why you're going to move, all these people that have said, hey man, just go win without it. Go do this, go do that. Like, what are you worried about? I'm not worried about a thing. Either way, with or without it. I still think I'll kind of catch, I think I'll make more money, not catch more fish. Definitely won't catch more fish. I'll make more money probably without it. But I'm still going to go use it in practice. I'm still going to go use it in tournaments. I'm still going to go use it for fun. Because it's freaking fun at times. The people squirming though, the guys squirming, that's the part that I don't mind saying. Like, what are you squirming for? Because if you notice in the comments, if I say this, because everyone's like, oh, that's a used argument, that, go catch them without it. It's not a used argument. I don't think it's a used argument at all. The guys that use it so much, you don't hear them saying that. You hear people that are fans of them, or I don't know what it is, like they're arguing for them. And it's weird too, because we talk about, like, we get in the boat. There's so many of us fishermen that get in the boat. I was with one yesterday, and we were talking, and we were going, there's a big difference between catching fish and making, I mean, we spent hours talking about this yesterday, because we were like, if they do this, guess what's going to happen? And we were going through tournaments, literally of last year, going, those guys probably wouldn't have caught them. They've never really caught them before. They wouldn't have caught them in that event. Where would we have finished in that event, right? Now, sometimes we used it in certain events, right? Sometimes we didn't. My point is, we started looking around going, where is this going? What are they going to do? I have so many people in mind that I'm thinking about, and it's probably not the same people you're thinking about. So when they're talking about certain anglers, I have certain anglers in mind, and they have certain anglers in mind. Now, they might be thinking elite guys, BPT guys, Npfl guys. I'm thinking some of them, most of them, I don't even know. I don't know most of them, so don't really care. I got guys around Texas, around my region, around, like, I know what they did before it came out. I know what they've done after it came out. I've got guys on my home lake. The people I think about, you probably couldn't even guess. Some guys maybe could. But I know what they were before it. I know what they are after it. All I'm saying is all this stuff about, oh, they can catch them without it. Could they caught fish? Yeah. Did they cash a bunch of checks? No. They make top 10s? Almost never. So I want to see what they can do without it now. And we won't find that out, because most of the tournaments aren't getting rid of it. And that's fine. There's some guys, though, they're going to struggle. They're going to struggle, or they're not, or they're going to leave the trail. And all these excuses about why they're going to do it or why they should do this. Man, I was taught a long time ago, and I was trying to explain this to my kids. And it's one of the hardest things in the world. That is, an excuse is just an excuse. A lot of people don't care about excuses. They're good excuses. Sometimes the excuses are valid, but it's still an excuse. So you can make all the excuses you want to. It's still an excuse. And I get that. I just want to see. I want to see this is all comical to me. It really is. I'm enjoying this. I really am. And once again, where are all these professional fishermen? They're stuck. They're stuck. I'm not stuck. I'm still just I'm going out here fishing the trails I want to, doing all this stuff. It's all based off money. All of it. I promise you, I don't choose a trail based on that piece of equipment on my boat. I look at it and go, how am I going to get paid? What trail is going to pay the best? No one's talking about that. Oh, they're still getting screwed on that. But who cares about that now? Right? We don't care about the money anymore. I guarantee you they could charge people so much more money in some of those trails, and they'd go pay it. They could probably, on some guys, charge twice as much on the trail and say, hey, you're going to be allowed to use it or not allowed to use it, and they'll go pay that money. So we're not even getting into the money part of it. What else, real quick on this thing? They're comparing it. When people start comparing this to other forms of technology, you know what that's like? That's like saying the post office is like the internet. That's basically what it is. With all this other technology that came out, like side scan and all these things, I never heard anyone complain about any of that stuff. And what I mean by complain is there was no complaints. It wasn't the same thing. And I'm not saying people should complain about this. What I'm saying is this is like the internet. When the internet came out, right? And I would say most of it well, you got to be careful about that. Most of us use it for good. There's some bad things about the internet too. We'll all agree. Anyone that has kids, anyone that like dealing with this, all this stuff, social media might be the same thing, right? You can use a lot of it for good. A lot of it is bad. I'm not saying forward-facing sonar is bad. Like I said, I like it. I love it. I've enjoyed using it. All I'm saying is this. I do think it is not the same technology. It's that good. That piece of technology is that good. It's phenomenal. It is, I don't know what else to say. It's that good. But it's not like anything else we've ever seen before. It's not. It's not even close. You cannot compare this to side scan, down scan, 360. You can't. The guys are like, well, I can throw at brush piles and be more efficient and all that stuff. Okay. They're all right. They're all true. Okay? I grew up triangulating everything. Like, yeah, it might take me 1 or 2 casts, but I'll get there. And what I hear about, like when I hear the excuses and the arguments from people, is like, man, now when I pull up on this spot, when I do this thing and I'm like, they're discrediting what you can do, not from the bank, but with just fishing. Those guys just don't understand. I'll just leave it at that. There was so much in fishing that you had to figure out on your own. That it wasn't just laid out in front of you. You had to figure it out. There was a process involved. There are so many things. We were talking about yesterday about how we find fish in the grass and how the years and years of doing it and how we did it, that's what set us apart. How we figured them out deep set us apart. How we understood how they changed, how they get, there's so many things. And I'm starting to think that a long time ago, someone said there's no secrets anymore in fishing. Man, there was a bunch of them. There was a ton of them. And there were little things that we learned along the way. And I would say that thing showed a different way to fish, that it was kind of more mapped out for you in a little bit easier way. I thought about this, making this video a while back about this, is like this young versus old generation. Man, I don't know if I'm gonna make that video yet. I'll make it another time because I want to get into that. And I think that was part of the allure of fishing, right? Is that it became, you had to spend a lot of time figuring that stuff out. A lot. And it was hard. Like, it was hard. This makes it 1,000 times easier. It does. I can talk about it both ways. Some guys can't. I don't know why. I don't know. Some of these guys, regardless, like, they're so worried with it or without it. There's some fishermen out there, man, there's some fishermen that do not care. I give them props too. There's some guys that don't care whether they do with it. Like some guys up on the top ranks, they don't care. They'll catch them with or without it. It's you can tell too by the way when they post stuff. Everything has little a back meaning when they post certain things. Some of them you can tell they don't care. They can catch them with or without it. There's guys too. I've seen some of these comments that posted about certain anglers, like these guys are going to do horrible in the BPT. And I was going, what? Are you kidding me? Some of these guys freaking won, like, I don't know, 7 Angler of the Years without it. They'll be fine. Heck, they're going to crush on them. I just want to see, like, everyone's like, well, what about this new generation? Oh, you mean, so they're going to have to go learn how to use it without it? I'm not saying that. They are. If they all can catch them with or without it, they shouldn't be worried either. So if you're making a big fuss about this, if you're out there going one way or the other, I can pretty much tell by your stance whether or not you think you can catch them with or without it. 100%. You can make all the excuses you want to from any of those guys, for or against. But if you were out there from the highest level screaming, to me it lets me know whether or not you can probably catch a fish with or without it. I don't know how else to take it, because you can either catch them with it or without it. And if you can catch them without it, what's the big deal? If you can catch them with it, what's the big deal? And I'm gonna say this again, these companies and stuff, I don't once again, I think put too much of a priority on the professional fisherman. I'm going to say this again. The professional fisherman is a dying breed. They're on a downward slope. And a lot of professional fishermen will agree with me on that. Like the ones that see the big picture and see how the landscape is changing, understand that. 20 years ago, they were right. It was the way. It was the end all. And, there was 150 of them. Now there's 496,000 of them. And it's spread out all over the place. And now there's live coverage of everything. There's live coverage here. You can like it or don't like it. A lot of people get way more information and way more learning experience, all kinds of things from this right here than they ever will from the professional fishermen fishing on a lake they've never going to be to, doing whatever they're doing. And some guys learn way more from that than this, and some guys learn way more from other things. But the landscape is changing. And I just don't think they need to worry about it. Like if you want to learn life scope, I sure wouldn't be watching professional fishermen. It's not what I would be watching. I'd be watching, okay, well, I've never seen a professional fisherman spend that much time teaching you about how to do the settings. And what I mean by that, I'm not saying a guy doesn't do that. He's just not doing it on the lake while he's fishing a tournament. So if you want to get your settings right, you're not going to them. If you want to learn certain techniques, I wouldn't be going to them, watching them. That's a different way of learning. Right? We now have a different way of learning. We have a different way of entertainment. We have a different way of a lot of things, doing something that's a different way to get it out there. So if you want to just get really good at live scope, I'd probably be watching more YouTube and things like that. And I'd be watching the guys that actually try to show you something, that actually try to do something, not little tips here and there. A tip on maybe some settings helps, but for the most part, like it's very hard to get good at something by just getting little tips and little things here and there. I try to learn as much as I can on my own, and then I try to okay, well, wait, what am I missing? Is there something I'm missing? Then I'll watch that stuff. I don't do the opposite. I don't watch all that stuff and then go get on the water. Probably should. That's just not how I do things. I want to just get out there and do it on my own and figure it out myself. Not because I think that's the right way to do it. I just can't watch something and go do it. I have to do it on my own. I have to see it. I have to experience it. I have to see the problems. I don't know what questions to ask if I don't see the problems myself, right? So I got to get out there, see what I see, and then go, oh, okay. Now I have some questions. But I know I got off on something crazy, but this is going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy this next, the squirming. Boy, they're going to be squirming. I'm honest about it, guys. At least I'm honest. I love it. I want to see how they squirm, how this all unfolds. I'm going to enjoy next year. 2025 is going to be a good year in fishing. And I can't wait. How about y'all? All right. Now, hopefully we can put this to rest. We can get back on fishing stuff. Let's just get back on the fishing stuff. All right. See y'all.